Hey, what's up guys? So today we're back on the test server and I want to explore the Awakened weapons a bit more. I want to do a couple things here. I want to show you an average cost you can expect to get some traits on these Awakened weapons, what you might have to spend, and then later in the video I also want to show you what zones you can and can't use Awakened weapons and make some predictions on where we're going to see them. So I've got an array of 4.4 all the way up to 8.4 weapons. I'm going to awaken them and I'm going to give you guys a breakdown of the cost of those. Alrighty, so with a 4.4 weapon, just to awaken it alone, it's going to cost 200k silver, 4 siphon energy, and 4 Avalonian energy. Now, once you've awakened that, of course, you do have to get some traits on there. And in order to do that, you're going to have a cost of silver as well as attunement. Now, attunement is gained from PvE fame. You can see a little calculator here. 200 PvE fame equals 1 attunement. Alrighty, so to add our first trait on this 4.4 weapon is going to cost 40k silver and 340 attunement. And now you can pick between the 3 different options that it shows you. Now if you're lucky, you're going to get one of the traits that you actually want on it. But because there are so many different traits on here, the odds of you getting the exact one that you want on the first roll is actually pretty low. Depending on how you're using this weapon, you might be a little bit more flexible with the traits that get added, or you might not be flexible. You might want specifically lifesteal, you might want specifically threat gen. Something like that is very useful, so it really depends on what you're looking for. But for the sake of making this easy to see, I'm just going to select one here. Now in order to get to the second trait, I'm going to have to upgrade it. So this cost is going to be 32k silver and 262 attunement, and this will be the first roll here. Now that was actually a pretty big hit. It is random how much stat you're going to get from upgrading your trait, but that was enough to get my second trait. To get my second trait here, it's going to cost 53k silver and 450 attunement. And once again, it's going to give me 3 different options here. Let's say that health is totally fine. So we've got enough for health here. And now we're again going to have to upgrade it. So the cost is going to be 42k silver and 350 attunement. We're going to upgrade it there. And that was not enough of a hit. We have to get up to 45 legendary weight rating. So we're going to have to upgrade the trait again. So it'll be 47k silver cost and 396 attunement for this one. And again, that wasn't enough to get to our third trait. So we're going to need 53k silver and 444 attunement. We've upgraded again. Again, that wasn't enough to get to the legendary rating. So we're gonna hit again. This one will be 59k silver and 59k silver and 498 attunement costs. Upgraded again. And that was a big enough hit that we can get to our third trait. Now getting our third trait on here, we've actually run out of the attunement. So I'm gonna click this little shrine. To get our third trait on here, it's going to cost 100k silver and it will be 837 attunement. And let's assume that whatever we get here is something that's good. So now we've got a third trait added on there. And that'll be the cost. I'll do a little pop-up on the screen here to show you what the total is at this point in time. Now obviously this cost is low, so we're going to upgrade it a little bit. One upgrade here. It's still at 0.86 lifesteal. So our second upgrade is going to cost 88k silver and 739 attunement. We upgraded it again. Now we're getting up to almost 3% lifesteal. That's decent. Let's do one more hit on it. So 99k silver, 828 attunement. And now we've got a decently upgraded item. And I'm going to show you here on total here what that's cost to get it to this point. Now I'm going to grab a second 4.4 weapon. And I'm going to try to get specific traits and give you a breakdown on the cost of that. So I've gone a Daybreaker here, and now I'm going to awaken this Daybreaker, and I'm going to look for specific traits on this Daybreaker. So I'm going to pretend that this is something that I would want to take into Corrupted Dungeons, and I'm going to look for specific traits. Specific traits that I'm going to look for is I want to get auto attack damage, I want to get lifesteal, and I want to get cooldown rate. So those are the specific ones that I'm looking for. I'm going to go through this one a little bit quicker, but I am going to show you guys a total at the end there so you guys can see exactly how much this is going to cost. We're going to add the first trait here. We did get lifesteal. Pretty lucky. We got lifesteal. So that is the trait that I want. We're gonna upgrade it a couple times here. Okay, we've got enough to add a second trait. Let's take a look here. Now, we did not get any of the traits that I want. So I'm actually just going to confirm, but now I'm going to have to replace the trait. Replacing a trait does have a silver cost and an attunement cost. It's going to be 837 attunement as well as 100k silver. So we're going to replace it. We were able to get cooldown rate. That's really nice. So we're going to add the cooldown on there, which does give us the second trait that we were looking for. Pretty lucky. We're going to upgrade the cooldown until we can unlock the third one. Okay, so now we're going to add our third trait on here. Add the third trait. Now we're looking for literally auto attack damage. We didn't get it in the first one, so we're going to re-roll it. This is costing 311,000 silver at this point, and 2,600 attunement costs. So we're going to replace it. Once again, did not get one, so we'll again pick another one, and now it's going up to 367,000 silver and 3,000 attunement. Once again, we didn't get it, so we'll pick another one. And we're going to do another replace cost. Now this is already up to 434,000 silver. Once again, we did not get it. So re-rolling. Now it's up to 512,000 silver. Again, didn't get it. 600,000 silver. And we did finally get auto attack damage on here. And that was a 600,000 silver roll just to get the auto attack damage. And we haven't even started upgrading it. And now let's say we get these up to what I would say is a probably passable rate. I'm going to upgrade it here. Oh boy. These costs are already humongous. And this is just a 4-4 weapon. I'd like to get up to 10% auto attack damage. Okay, we got to 10% auto attack damage. We need some more lifesteal on here for sure. Oh boy. Let's see if we can get to 5% lifesteal. Maybe not. These costs are at this point already silly. Okay, we've got to 5% lifesteal. Let's bump the cooldown up to 6%. Alrighty. And I think that would be a stopping point right there. I think at this point, the cost of 2.3 million per silver cost and 19,000 attunement just to do one upgrade there is insane. Looking at this now, this price, and I'm going to do a little pop-up here of the price so you guys can see how much in silver and attunement it costs. This is absurd. And then in turn, to bring this into lethal content gets crazy. And obviously at every point in time here, I would have to be PvEing in order to do this because you can only carry so much attunement on the weapon. So the price it ends up being here is, it's just crazy. It's crazy. That is very expensive. If you want to take that into lethal content, I think it would be few and far between will want to take the time to upgrade it. And these are just mediocre buffs as well. Cooldown can go all the way up to 12%. We only got to 6.5. Lifesteal can go all the way up to 10%. We only got to 5%. And auto attack damage can go all the way up to 24%. And we stopped right at 10%. So it gets a little bit crazy. Alrighty, so next I'm going to show you guys some of the costs they would take for awakening and adding traits onto a 6-4 item. So the cost to awaken a 6-4 item alone is 1 million silver, 17 siphon, and 17 Avalonian energy. And then to start adding traits on there, the first trait is going to cost 200k silver and 1,000 attunement. So let's pretend we got lucky. We'll add max health on here. Okay. And then we're going to have to upgrade it. Upgrading it will cost 160k silver and 1300 attunement. The next hit will cost 180k silver and 1500 attunement. And I actually got a good hit off that. So now I can go on to adding the second trait. Let's say we got lucky. We're going to add attack speed on here. Now we're going to have to upgrade the attack speed, so it's going to cost 238k silver and 1900 attunement. We have to get all the way up to 225 legendary rating before I can get a third trait. So this is costing 267k silver and 2200 attunement. 299k silver and 2400 attunement. 335k silver and 2800 attunement. And we got a good hit on that one, so we can add a third trait on here. Adding this will cost 564k silver and 4700 attunement. Okay, we'll add a third trait on here, and it'll cost 564k silver and 4700 attunement. Now let's imagine we got lucky as well and just click the top one here. Upgrading this will now cost 444k silver and 3700 attunement. The next upgrade will cost 498k silver and 4100 attunement. The next upgrade will cost 558k silver and 4600 attunement. And the next upgrade will cost 625k silver and 5200 attunement. And I think we'll stop at that point here. Let's hope we get lucky on this spin. Hopefully it gives us a decent bonus out of it. Give us 0.7% auto attack damage. That's okay. So I'm going to add up a little total here to show you what it costs to get to this 6-4 weapon, awakened and attuned, and so you guys can have an idea. And again, this one is just if I'm going with whatever stats it gives us. This is us imagining that we got the most lucky and it gave us stats that are useful right off the bat. All right, so this is going to be the final cost, so I can show you guys what it's going to look for with an 8-4 weapon. I'm going to show you it as if we got lucky, and then I'm going to show you if we're looking for specific traits. So just awakening an 8-4 weapon alone costs 6 million silver, 100 siphon, and 100 Avalonian energy. Now to add a trait on here, to add a trait onto this 8-4 weapon is going to cost, all right, now to add a trait onto this 8-4 weapon is going to cost 1.2 million silver and 10,000 attunement. Now let's imagine we get lucky, of course, and we'll just select the first one here. Now we're going to have to upgrade it. To upgrade it once is going to cost 960k silver and 8,000 attunement. We didn't get to the threshold for a second one, so it's going to cost 1 million silver and 9,000 attunement. Again, we didn't get to the threshold, so we're still at 1.2 million silver and 10,000 attunement. Still not at the threshold for a second trade, so we're costing 1.3 million silver and 11k attunement. Still not at the threshold, so it's going to be 1.5 million silver and 12.6k attunement. Still not there, so it's 1.7k silver and 14k attunement. And we finally got there. We finally got to the point where we can get a second trade on this 8-4 weapon. Adding that trade costs 2.8 million silver. Let's pretend we got lucky here. These costs are adding up very quickly. Now, in order to get to the third one, we have to upgrade the trait. So it's going to cost 2.2 million silver and 18.8k attunement. And then it's going to be 2.5 million silver and 21k attunement. And then it's going to cost 2.8k silver and 23k attunement. And then it's going to cost 3.1 million silver and 26k attunement. And then it's 3.5 million silver and 30k attunement. And so now we've gone to the point where we can unlock the third trait. Oh boy. And at unlocking the third trait, it's going to cost 6 million silver and 50k attunement. And again, let's imagine we got lucky and we're just going to select the first one here. We're still going to have to upgrade it because it said it's minimum right now. Upgrade is going to cost 4.7 million silver and 40k attunement. Upgrading again will cost 5.2 million silver and 44k attunement. And again will cost 5.9 million silver and 50k attunement. Upgrading it one more time is going to cost 6.6 million silver and 55k attunement. And these stats are low, but I'm going to stop there. I'm going to do a little total on the screen here so you guys can see the amount of silver cost and attunement it has been at this point. But without even doing the math yet, I can tell you this is absurd. It is a lot. Now I'm going to grab one more 8-4 weapon and I'm going to look for specific traits. Because if you are upgrading an 8-4 weapon, you're probably going to want specific things on there. So I'm going to grab a 8-4 bloodletter. I'm going to awaken it. I'm going to look for specific traits. I'm going to go through it quicker, but I'm going to give you guys a total of what this is going to cost. Okay, so on my bloodletter, I am going to look for... lifesteal. I'm going to look for item power, and I'm going to look for cooldown rate. So let's get lucky here. We did get item power. Nice. First roll, we got one of the traits we're looking for. Not bad. We're going to upgrade it. We're going to upgrade it. We got lucky on a hit, and we're going to look for our next trait. We didn't get any of them, so we'll just select the first one, and we're going to replace it. Didn't get any of them, so we're going to replace it. We got cooldown rate. Lucky. We got cooldown rate. Now we're going to have to upgrade cooldown rate. And we got lucky again on the upgrades. Now we can get our third trait. Now, again, we're going to be looking for, what did I say? Lifesteal. I wanted lifesteal. Did not get lifesteal, so we'll select the first one. Just re-rolling the trade at this point is costing 4.4 million silver and 37k attunement. Did not get lifesteal, so we're going to re-roll. Did not get lifesteal, so we're going to re-roll. It's costing 6 million silver at this point in time. Did not get lifesteal, so we're going to re-roll. And we did not get lifesteal, so we're going to re-roll. We're already at the point where re-rolling itself costs 8.6 million silver and 72k attunement. We got lifesteal. Nice. Now we're going to upgrade this. I'm going to get them to a point where I think it would be respectable. So I'm going to do a bunch of upgrading here. I don't think there's any point in getting lifesteal unless you're getting up to at least 6%, in all honesty. But if it's an 8-4, you're probably going to want to get higher than that even. For the sake of putting it on here. So let's do this upgrade. This upgrade here is going to cost 16.9 million silver and 141k attunement. And the next cost, in order to try to get it to 7%, would cost 19 million silver and 160k attunement. And we didn't even quite get it there. We got to 6.99% lifesteal. Now let's get the cooldown up a little bit. Let's get the cooldown to at least 6%. Right? Please? Okay, one more upgrade on the cooldown would cost 29.9 million silver and 250k attunement at this point in time. We haven't upgraded item power yet. First upgrade is going to cost 33 million silver and 280k attunement. We're going to upgrade it a few times. I think let's try to get 60 item power out of this. Okay, one more upgrade on here. It's going to cost 60 million silver and 500k attunement. And hopefully that brings us to 60 item power, and it does. So I'm going to do a little pop-up on here, and this is if you're upgrading your 8-4 weapon with certain traits that you want, the cost in terms of silver and attunement. Now, once again, the attunement is going to cost 200 PvE fame for 1 attunement. So we can do a little total over here of how much mob fame you're actually going to have to get in order to get all of that attunement as well. Now, I can tell you guys without doing the math here, this is crazy. This is truly insane to get these mediocre stats out of this 8-4 weapon. The idea of spending this cost and taking it into lethal content, kind of crazy. It really is crazy. I have to think if someone is going to use an awakened weapon and add a trait on there and take it into lethal content, maybe they'll add 1 trait. Maybe they'll add 2 traits on there. But in order to get 3 traits on there and upgrade them, it's just going to cost so much. So I think it's pretty unlikely we're going to see this too often out in lethal content. If we do, more power to those people, but I'm second guessing taking awakened weapons into lethal content myself. All right, let's talk, guys. So I recorded this content yesterday, and I didn't actually do the math to add up the silver and fame costs until today. And now that I have, I feel like I have to make a comment about them. I could tell the costs were getting pretty excruciating as I started adding up the attunement, but I did not realize how absolutely insane the silver and fame cost would be on this upgraded 8-4 weapon. I need to put it into perspective. 535 million silver. 535 million silver. That is the equivalent of 3.3 transport mammoths. So if you are one of those players that spends a lot of time grinding the game to get enough silver that you can buy a transport mammoth, you would have had to buy more than 3 in order to afford the attunement on this 8-4 weapon. That is crazy. And I think the obvious thing, the elephant in the room that people are going to point out if I don't, is that the obvious answer is people will simply buy gold. They intend people to buy gold to upgrade these weapons. So I did the math on that as well. The price by the gold in order to sell it for silver, in order to get this 8-4 attuned weapon, would cost about $550 US right now. $550 US. That is a lot of money. Even if you're someone that's doing fairly well financially, $550 US is quite a bit. And if you're in a country where the dollar doesn't translate as well, it's just completely out of your budget. I think it's out of the budget for most people to spend that much on attuning a weapon. There's a small percentage of people out in the world that can throw $550 US at buying gold and trading it to silver and then attuning their weapon. But I surely hope this content isn't intended just for those specific people. And then in terms of the fame cost, 882 million fame. Now, I took a look at the fame in PvE last week. There is a handful of players that get a lot of fame every week. They farm world bosses, etc. We don't have to get into that. But those are absolutely outliers. When you scroll down last week to the 100th spot, so the person got the 100th most PvE fame last week, they were getting about 110 million PvE fame, 110 million mob fame, which would mean this would take them 8 weeks of farming in order to get enough fame to upgrade this weapon. That is a lot of fame, on top of the cost of $550 US. Now, there's other factors included in this as well. Because it is an 8-4 weapon, you have to kill TA mobs. Killing TA mobs isn't always the easiest thing. For the most part, you have to be in lethal zones. Are they going to go into the roads for 8 weeks in Fame Farm? Are they going into Black Zone and Fame Farming for 8 weeks? What are the odds that they don't get killed at that point in time? Especially if someone sees you with an attuned 8-4 weapon in there, you're going to get hunted down. You certainly can't take this into the mist and try to get fame in the tune of 882 million fame. Because first of all, you would have to find legendary myths just to get the fame, just to get the mobs to be able to acquire enough attunement to do this. which are already rare. But if you're in the mist for any period of time in this 8-4 tuned weapon, you're going to get hunted down by every single person out there. So now you've gotten 535 million silver and you've gotten 882 million mob fame. What do you get on your weapon? You're going to get, in this case, 60 item power, 6% cooldown rate, and 7% lifesteal. That is not worth it. There is no world where that amount of effort, that amount of time, that amount of silver is going to equate to 60 item power. It's about half of a level, 6% cooldown rate, and 7% lifesteal. That is crazy. It's just crazy. So there's been a lot of talk about the power that is going to come from Awakened weapons and how there's going to be these big dogs with 8-4 attuned weapons dominating the mist. I really just don't think that's the case. I know there's going to be a few people that might do it once. They might put one. Some people might even get 3 traits on there. They might do it once for, you know, the novelty of it. But realistically, the amount of time and silver that goes into this is just insane. It's just crazy. So I really don't think we're going to have an issue with 8-4 players in Awakened weapons and lethal content. I could be wrong. People might, you know, completely dedicate their time to doing this, but I really just don't see it happening. Even the costs for 4-4 and 6-4 are very high. And once you start looking for specific traits and stuff like that, it ends up costing a lot. And the amount of fame it takes is a lot. So I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of that. I don't really understand what this content is aimed at. I really do believe that this is content that you will mostly see directed towards non-lethal players. You know, players that get a PvE weapon and they take that and they fame farm mobs and they add a couple stats in there that makes it easier to fame farm mobs. But the idea of taking it into lethal content just gets crazy. I hope SBI does take a look at this problem. I do think the costs and fame required are insane, especially when we're talking about the 8-4 weapons. Point of something that could be fun in the game is probably just not going to be used that much. At least not after the first week or two when the novelty wears out. I did intend to just have these numbers pop up on here and not having a sort of comment about it, but I feel like after I started seeing those numbers, I had to make a comment. I had to add in my 2 cents, so that's why I wanted to say this. We do still have some videos, so hang out. Also, if you guys think I'm wrong about this, if you do think that attuned Awakened weapons will be used in a lot of content that people will be taking out for, feel free to leave a comment. Let me know whatever I'm missing, because at this point in time, I have no idea how people are, first of all, going to afford this, and second of all, get all the fame on these things to actually get these upgrades. So if you guys know something I don't know, please leave a comment, let me know. Thanks. All right, so one of the first places that you can use Awakened weapons and get the power of the traits that you've added are Corrupted Dungeons. In this Corrupted Dungeon, you're seeing that I'm actually getting the physical attack bonus, the magic attack bonus, physical ability bonus, magical ability bonus, as well as the added item power from having those traits added to my weapon. So they do work in Corrupted Dungeons. Alrighty, so for the sake of testing, I've also entered a Stalker Corrupted Dungeon, and I can confirm that you actually do get the bonuses from the Awakened attuned weapons in Stalker Corrupted Dungeons as well. Now you will get the IP crunch, so if you're in any sort of Corrupted Dungeon or any sort of IP lowered zones, you will have lowered IP, even if you have the increased IP as a trait on your Awakened weapon. But I can confirm in the Stalker Corrupted Dungeons, you will have the benefit of having an Awakened weapon. That was a rumor that I heard, that they don't work in Corrupted Dungeons. So that was the main thing I wanted to test here, was actually to see if they work. Because if you are in a Corrupted Dungeon, having the extra traits on there can make a big difference. So another situation that your awakened weapons are viable in, of course, is any sort of black zone fight. You're getting the full value in the black zone, so that includes any of the traits that you've added. Even the added item power is not going to get scaled down in the black zone. So if you're solo in the black zone, if you're in a small group, you're in ZVZ, you will absolutely get the value from awakened weapons out here in the black zone. Now you can see actually here that the awakened weapons still have their bonuses even when you're in the blue zone here. So you're not losing the awakened bonuses, the traits that you put on the awakened weapon here in the blue zone. So even though it is a non-lethal zone where you can't lose your gear, you're still getting the benefit. Of course, you can't actually kill people here, so it's not a detriment to other players, but it still gives you the benefit if you're doing fame farming or any other content in the blue or yellow zone. Alrighty, so you'll see that now that I'm in a non-lethal Hellgate, when I check my weapon here, I do not get the traits from that I've added on the awakened weapon. It actually says awakened items do not benefit from traits in this area. So you can use an awakened weapon in this content, you just will not get the benefit from the traits you've put on here. So what that means is if you are trying to fame up the attunement, you can certainly do it in non-lethal content, but you will not get the benefit. Keep in mind that the attunement can only be achieved by killing mobs that are at least the tier of your weapon or higher. So for example, with these T84 awakened weapons, I will not get attunement from killing these T5 mobs in non-lethal Hellgates. But if I was in a T4 or T5 weapon, I would. Alrighty, so now you see once I've entered lethal Hellgates, you do get the value of all the traits you've added to your awakened weapon. If you're going into lethal 2v2, 5v5, or 10v10 Hellgates, you will get the value. I think there will be a lot of uses in certain Hellgates of low tier awakened weapons. Bringing in 4-4, 5-4 in order to get the awakened bonuses could be very strong. If you're finding teams that are really good at 5v5 and 10v10 Hellgates, there's a lot of times where they go undefeated for quite some time. So bringing in some very expensive awakened weapon just to get those bonuses on there could definitely be useful. Alrighty, so beyond those uses, there's also a lot of uses that are non-lethal. So doing things like faction flagging and non-lethal, I think you're going to see a lot of awakened weapons. I think a lot of non-lethal PvE, you'll see awakened weapons. Even just going and getting the added fame from mobs, I think is really ideal for PvE. You don't necessarily need to get any other traits. You could certainly get ones that make the PvE easier, but just getting the mob bonus alone is pretty strong. If you go to the merchant here, I'll show you the amount of mob fame you can get. You can get all the way up to 30%. So imagine you're fame farming, you have a satchel on, you have any other bonus that gives you more mob fame, having an extra 30% is huge. So I think using that alone for fame farming is pretty strong. But then of course, as I showed in my other video, adding any sort of ability damage, attack damage, more lifesteal, whatever else it might be, will make the fame farming easier as well. But I think you're going to see a lot of people add that mob fame just to get better fame farming weapons. So I think that's a great use for it. Aside from the ones that SBI has said to us, SBI has come out and said that they will not work in certain situations. They will not work in non-lethal instant zones. So that would be crystals as well as non-lethal arenas. Both of those will not have the traits from their awakened weapon, but there's going to be a lot of other uses for them. So I think that makes it very clear where you're going to see them, and I think they're going to be very strong in those situations.